The anime starts with a boy named Makoto Masumi having a regular day. Suddenly, he encounters a god, who is surprised to find out that Makoto knows nothing about his own background. The god reveals that Makoto's parents are from another world, and they made a pact with a goddess from that world before coming to Japan. Makoto is shocked because he never knew about this, and wonders why he's never met any relatives. The god explains that Makoto's parents promised to give the goddess something valuable when the time came, and if Makoto doesn't fulfill this promise, the goddess might take one of his sisters instead. Makoto is grateful for the information and thanks the god. The god then asks Makoto if he wants to go back to his world to say goodbye to his sisters before leaving them behind, but the goddess from the other world doesn't wait and summons him immediately. When Makoto arrives in the other world, the goddess greets him rudely, calling him ugly and telling him to leave. Makoto insists that he's there because she summoned him, but the goddess is disgusted and only grants him the ability to speak, write and read any language except human. She then dismisses him, and as Makoto falls from the sky, the goddess wonders if he'll survive the fall. Luckily, Makoto is saved by the god Tsukuyomi, who criticizes the goddess for her mistreatment of Makoto. Tsukuyomi explains that in Makoto's previous world, he didn't have the protection of the gods, but in this new world, he could become powerful. However, communicating with Makoto drains Tsukuyomi's power, so he needs to rest for about 4 days. Makoto falls to the ground, his body untouched. He walks into a lone wasteland for 3 days without any food or drink, feeling exhausted and discouraged by the way his adventure began. As he waits for something interesting to happen, he suddenly hears cries for help from a feminine voice. He finds a pig woman being chased by a two-headed dog. Makoto jumps instinctively and smacks the beast with a kick, amazed by his newfound physical power. The pig is frightened, but Makoto tries to reassure her by explaining that he saved her because he believes in doing good. Eventually, the pig agrees with him. Makoto then asks the pig if she knows where he can find other people. The pig informs him that there are no human towns nearby, but there is a village nearby. However, she reveals that she was actually heading to the divided mountain to offer herself as a sacrifice to Shen, a powerful entity, because of her magical abilities. Makoto, intrigued by the idea of magic, asks the pig if she can teach him. She agrees, and Makoto learns to use magic, conjuring fire in his hand. The pig instructs him to imagine a fireball and throw it at a target. Makoto concentrates and successfully uses magic, surprising himself. When he asks about his level of proficiency, the pig explains the concept of levels to him, and they discover that Makoto is at level 1. Later, the pig finds a letter addressed to Makoto, thanking her for teaching him magic. Makoto decides to confront Shen, confident in his newly acquired skills. He demonstrates his abilities by creating an arc of fire and impresses a nearby girl with his magic. Curious about the sacrifices the pig mentioned, Makoto questions her about it. The pig suggests they make a pact with Shen. During their encounter with Shen, Makoto notices scales scattered around and learns that they belong to an orc named Emma. Shen offers the orcs fertile lands to live in, which they happily accept. Makoto questions Shen about the previous night and the fertile lands mentioned. Shen explains that the dimension where they made their pact became fertile, and he plans to build a city there with animals from that world. Makoto expresses concern about the potential danger if ferocious animals are brought into the new lands. However, a girl in human form assures him that she'll handle any issues that arise. Makoto then mentions Shen's supposed daughter, but Shen corrects him, explaining that she was merely a division of himself. When Makoto presses Shen to reveal his powers, Shen deflects the question, promising to discuss it later. Makoto asks the orcs if they agree to relocate, and they confirm their agreement. Shen transports them to the Aku dimension using his mist. Several days pass, and Makoto reflects on his memories, particularly a family photo that sparks his curiosity about his parents' history. He resolves to explore the world to learn more about them and to find a human village. Meanwhile, in another scene, an old man is attacked with spears. Back with Makoto, some orcs struggle to cut a tree, but Makoto helps them using his magic. The orcs are amazed, and Makoto heals one of them who frequently gets hurt. However, Makoto discovers that his healing powers don't work on himself. Suddenly, Shen appears with the old man who's unconscious, warning of an attack on Aku. Shen notices Makoto's injury and says they need his blood scent to lure the attacker. A creature, a spider, emerges and attacks Makoto. Shen explains that he's fought it before, but it retreated when injured. Makoto fights back with his sword and fire magic, but the spider regenerates by absorbing his magic. Despite Makoto's efforts to attack with more fire spears and create a shield, the spider injures him. However, Makoto retaliates with a powerful explosion using his magic. Makoto shoots the spider with a bow, causing it to weaken and fall to the ground. Surprisingly, instead of attacking Makoto, the spider seems to admire his strength. Shen intervenes and takes the spider away, questioning if she remembers him. However, the spider claims she only thought about eating and doesn't recall anything. Shen explains to the spider that she has a special connection with Makoto, which is why she can take on a human form. After convincing her, the spider agrees to make a pact with Makoto and transforms into a human. When Makoto wakes up, he finds his injuries miraculously healed. However, he feels uneasy when he sees a girl nearby. Curious, Makoto asks the girl who she is. She reveals herself as the Black Spider, explaining that she took on human form after their pact. Makoto expresses concern that he made the pact while unconscious, but the girl pledges her loyalty to him. Shen reassures Makoto, saying it's better than being followed by a giant spider. A dwarf introduces himself to Makoto, thanking him for defeating the Black Spider and saving his village. Makoto modestly accepts the gratitude and agrees to let the dwarf's village live in the area. Shen prompts Makoto to name the new girl and himself. Makoto names Shen Tomo, which pleases Shen, and names the other girl Mine. As time passes, Makoto witnesses more races coming to live in a ku'u. Later, Makoto informs Shen that he wants to visit a human village. On his way, he encounters a frightened girl who runs away from him. When he approaches the village, he's met with suspicion and people pointing at him. Confused and hurt by being mistaken for a monster, Makoto flees back to a ku'u feeling dejected. Determined to bridge the communication gap with the human village, Makoto seeks to learn the human language. The dwarf provides him with a ring containing mana to prevent him from frightening anyone. With the help of Shen and Mio, Makoto sneaks into the human village. They check into a hotel where Shen and Mio engage in a friendly competition to determine who has the highest level of power. They discover a scroll indicating level caps, with Shen at 1320 and Mio at 1500. Shen struggles to accept that Mio is stronger than her. That night, Makoto ventures out with Mio while Shen stays behind. A girl approaches Makoto, seeking his help and embracing him. Makoto decides to bring her back to the hotel where they're staying.